welcome to Caber76 Nerd and Gamer, the show that hasn't been on for like a month. Yeah, I've been terrible at this, man. I have not been keeping it up. I'm going to try to keep it up. We're going to go back to every week or every 2 weeks. This is going to be a show that I'm going to need to remember, and I'm sure all of you are going to need to remember. Did you reply? Because I'm going through and I'm checking it now, and there's some, usuals and some new people. There's not a lot, but we'll get right into my week. So my week, this week in MMOs and gaming, I have played a ton of swtor because I have my buddy Matt is playing now from work, and him and I have been playing. I'm trying to catch up all of those characters that I deleted and remade. So we're getting someplace. I've got 2 characters that are left in the starting zone, so we're going to finish them off, but I play them with people. I have been pushing Yarg to get to 80 so that all of my 3 mains are 80. I have been playing, let's see what else. I've been playing a little bit of Warcraft Classic because of Wrath of the Lich King. I purchased the expansion. I got a level 70 boost in Lich King. I now have a Dwarf Paladin named Yarg. I'm working on my Hunter. Starting next week, I'm going to start leveling out my characters in Retail WoW because they're doing the experience buff again. I have won a car in Grand Theft Auto this morning, which I'm pretty excited about. I deleted all the second accounts I made because I felt like it was just completely stupid, so we went through that fiasco again. I've been trying to play a little EQ, but nobody's really been on. I do feel like at this point in my gaming life, I would like to find guilds that are active for my 3 mains in ESO, swtor, Warcraft, Classic WoW. I'm even thinking that I'm going to resub back to Final Fantasy and join my friend's guild. I just feel like I want to get more active. So my week has been very, very busy. I guess it's been my past month because I haven't done shit for our show. So I apologize. I am just, I'm not used to doing so much all day now. My job is way busier and I fucking love it. It is just such a good company to work for. I really love the people. I'm ecstatic that I got this job. It's awesome. Best job I've ever had. The people, like I said, are amazing. We just survived a hurricane out here. We did not get hit. We got a lot of wind. The night of the hurricane, it was windy as fucking hell. And the lightning, it was just insane. I've never seen lightning like that. But I'm hoping I'm hoping we don't get any more. I am not a fan of hurricanes, but it's Florida. I joined a college football simulation league. I now am in a college football simulation league, an NFL simulation league, and a baseball simulation league. So I love my sport games. I'm playing those. I caught up on The Witcher on TV on Netflix. I finished Cobra Kai. I finally got Destro and with G.I. Joes that I'm going to be putting up on the shelf over here. That's it's been pretty much it. I mean, I want to start doing some more photography, so I got to mess with that a little bit. Just a fun time, just trying to get everything caught up and do everything and get the gaming and stuff. Spent a lot of time with my girlfriend and her child. Fun times, just doing all those cool things. So that's been pretty much my week. So let's get into the question. So I literally had to go back and go, what the fuck is the question? I'm terrible. I'm so sorry. So the question is, are MMOs dead? And that's, it's a debatable topic. I think it's been talked about quite a bit. None of my friends really jumped on. I have maybe one friend, Khan, jumped on. Nobody else really jumped on of my personal, close friends that I've known forever. But it's a question that it was debated, and I'm gonna throw it out on Twitter again and try to get some more results before I actually publish this. But there's no point in not discussing it. It's a good question, and I think there'll be some good feedback. There was some good feedback, so let's get right into the first one. So the first reply comes from somebody whose reply I forgot about last week. I was going to read his reply, but the show from last month was so long ago, I don't even think anybody's going to remember. So, Shanty, I'm sorry. I don't know how I missed your reply, but I'm going to go ahead and get the answer for this week's question. Or, well, I keep saying week. This month's question. Are MMOs dead? So Shanty at Shantymangaming said, not even close. Just this past week, we've had a 6.2 in Final Fantasy XIV, update 35 in ESO, and Guild Wars 2 is celebrating 10 years and launching on Steam. But if I had a nickel for every time someone said Game X is dead, I'd retire right now. Exactly, that's why I wanted to bring the topic up. Because think about SWTOR. People have been saying that SWTOR is going to be dead, it's dying, and it's a constant thing for years. And I don't think it's even close to it. Yeah, the crew kind of stepped away, but it's always the thing. It's like, WoW is dead, ESO is dead, Guild Wars is dead, Final Fantasy is dead, you know? I'm sure they did that back in the days when, you know, well, Star Wars Galaxies did die, so we can't really discuss that. But I would say Ultima Online. I think Ultima Online's still going, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was still going. But you're right. I mean, people love to just say that Game X is dead. You know, they just love to talk about that. So, again, I'm sorry for, like, last month's question not getting answered, and that's totally on me, and I will make sure I do better this time. But thank you again, Shanty. So the next one comes from a newcomer, Weldonsmom at Weldonsmom on Twitter. They said, yes, I get they're all expensive to maintain, but blocking non-subs from group activities doesn't even give the glimpse of joy they'll have when they sub. Additionally, demanding your sub toon to be the highest level to join group activities is equally stifling. You know, I think you were replying to somebody else at the time on Twitter, and I forget what the main reply was, but you actually brought up a really good point, because games are so expensive to maintain that people cut the cost of the programming crew and the developers, and they go to free to play, you know. And I think free to play is good to a sense, but it's also bad. Like, I just don't like the concept of free to play, because I feel like there's always something missing. And the market itself, I mean, SWTOR's market drives me nuts. I like it, but it's, why do all the cool things have to come out in the market? Why don't they come out in the game? And maybe that's on me. Maybe that's because I don't do raids and I need to. But that free-to-play thing, it lures players in, but you miss so much of the game. There's things that, you're right, you have to sub. And when you sub, you get better, you know, better things that are added. Like, you can, you know, you get just different things that would not be in a free account. And people requiring you to be the highest level to join groups, activities, and games is kind of lame. I do think that the games that actually scale down, which most do now, is the way to go. But requiring people to be max level to do anything is kind of annoying. But I get it. You know, sometimes you just have to do it that way. So thank you, Weldonsmom. So the next one comes from my fellow Floridian who lives in Florida with me here. Is Elkie at Elkie_what_the_fuck, WTF. Every time I see your name, it's always what the fuck. I just have to say it that way. But she says, I don't think so, although I do feel they are evolving a bit. However, if you look at the popularity of games like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, they still have a large player base. Yeah, you know, Elkie, you're right. That's the thing. I mean, look at WoW. Like, the player base is still pretty damn big, right? And when people leave WoW, they go to Final Fantasy, or people have been playing Final Fantasy and they have those people that have been playing forever. I know my friend Matt, like his girlfriend plays, and she's been playing, from what I understand, quite a bit. I play both, you know. I have a character in Final Fantasy too, but that's so true. They are evolving. Games in general are evolving, especially, I mean, MMOs are really evolving. They're not, if you look at Star Wars Galaxies, it was pretty much just a sandbox, and you had to RP, or you had to figure out what to do when it originally came out. Games aren't like that anymore. You know, people know what there's a quest, and they know where to go. They know what to do. And I think that part evolved a lot. The transmogging systems, or the outfitter systems, have definitely came into games. The dual class system that came into games, like multi-class in Final Fantasy, is definitely one of the better things I've ever seen. So I would say, yeah, for sure, you are probably right on the money, for sure. But thank you, Elkie, appreciate it. So the next one comes from Lord Comet at Lord Comet, who is replying to Elkie's post. she's right. Even though it has lost quite a bit, those two specifically won't fizz out anytime soon, or if at all. And yeah, Comet, you're right. You know, it's they haven't. That people still play them. I'm a sitting example. I play both of them, and I've been a WoW supporter even through the shit times of WoW. And I love the game. I love the player base. I love the people. I love the story. I love the lore, and I'm not going anywhere. I don't think I'll sink with the ship. You know, and I think a lot of us players in Final Fantasy and WoW, like, we love the lore, we love the story, we love the game, we love the effort put into it, and we'll sink with the ship. And I think that's so true. I think you and Elke are right. It's that you've got loyal people that have games that have a large player base. These people stick with those games, and it's not gonna fizz out anytime soon. I don't see it fizzing out anytime soon. I mean, and I love SWTOR, but I think we've got less players in SWTOR, and I always worry. But I don't see SWTOR going anywhere either unless they come out with some brand new Star Wars MMO that just knocks players out of the park. But anyway, thank you, Lord Comet. So the next one comes from my only dependable friend in my circle of real-life friendships. Of course, I've known him since like 9th grade in high school, but the rest of you in my group of friends, you know who you are. You don't count anymore. Console, at Console on Twitter. He says, I don't think they're dead. I do think we're still playing a lot of games that are older, and there aren't many quality options that are new. You aren't getting newer generations into MMOs because they're going for the newer games. And that is a very legit point. MMOs have a specific... I'm an MMO player. Like, my gaming collection is mostly MMOs. I rather play MMOs. And I do play sometimes solo, but most people these days are going for what I would say are mostly like shooter type of games. Newer Spider-Man on PlayStation, you know, those type of games. It's... MMOs are for a certain player, and I know not everyone is an MMO person. They don't like... I know some of the people I talk to at work and my other friends, they are always like, I don't like MMOs because the game goes on forever and it's not over. But that's the part I like about it. It's evolving constantly, like Elke said. The games evolve, they change, the story moves on. It's what I like about it. And yeah, these are older games. You're right, Con. I mean, WoW. Look at WoW. I mean, we started playing that when your daughter was like not even born. What is she, like 13 or 14 now or something? So it's, yeah, you know, it's true. And the younger generation is going for the newer game. I know when like Smurfs kids get on and they're watching me on Twitch, or your son gets on and watches me on Twitch, he says the same. You know, they joke, or even Ahmed's son, they all joke about how we're playing old games like ESO and we should go play Fortnite and stuff like that. Well, that's just not my cup of tea. And I know most of you guys, that's not your cup of tea either. So I get what you're saying, and I tend to kind of side with you on that one. My one true real life friend. Anyway, thank you, Console. So the next one comes from somebody whose name I'm going to just fucking destroy because I can't even say this. Arillaza GG at Arillaza GG. Yeah, I butchered it. I'm sorry. Happens. Go ahead and send me an email with the correct way you pronounce it, because I sure the hell couldn't say it. They said, I think so. The MMO boom is almost a decade in the past now. Little to nothing new is coming out other than from the few MMOs which survived the boom. Even with those MMOs, things are fairly stagnant, with an overall lack of new blood coming in and sticking around. You know, I get what you're saying, and it is hard to get newer players into these MMOs. I know WoW and Final Fantasy do... I know WoW just tried to... My neighbor was actually talking about it. He's a WoW player, and he was saying that they sent him an email to renew his account because he hasn't played in like years, and they want to kind of lure him into Dragonflight. So he accepted it or whatever, and he's been trying it out. And I think you're on a point that I can't disagree with, but I don't like. I do think that things from the new perspective are very stagnant. But we maybe the new player doesn't stick around, but the old dependable player sticks around. And we try to bring people in. We try to bring friends in. We try to bring new people in. We try to help people. But you've got points that I don't personally like as a player of those older games, but I can't argue with you because I think you have legitimate points. You have reasons that make sense, and I can't even debate it with you. Because where is the new blood? Where are the new people in WoW? Are there a lot of new people? I mean, swtor, I'll get people that haven't played the game. I'll see people talking about it in general chat, but who knows if they're just bullshitting or not. But, yeah, I mean, I don't like what you're saying. I'm not gonna lie, but you've got a pretty good argument there and a pretty good reason for it and source for it. So anyway, thank you, and I'm not gonna even try to say your name again. So the next one comes from one of the hosts of the show, UtiniCast, over at Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I was excited because I love their show. And when Brandon replied back and he, chill, and he commented on my question, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like a kid. I was just so excited. So thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate it. And you can find him at Brandon L. Star on Twitter. And if you haven't checked out him and Kitty's podcast, definitely do. They're awesome, and they're definitely worth taking a listen or even a watch because they do stream it live. He says, tough question. The top quality MMOs are quite old now, and the game devs see it as a chicky. I can't speak, I swear. I've read that word 3 times and I still messed up. So we're going to start again. He said, tough question. Top quality MMOs are quite old now, and the game devs see it as a tricky genre, both expensive to make and maintain while also being a risk, while MMOs that find an audience can be profitable for a decade and more. And Riot Games is bucking the trend with its League MMO. And other than me screwing up what you said, which, I mean, that's like, I don't even know, like take 12 on that one. I can't seem to say the word tricky. But you brought up the same point that the poster before said, the Aurelia Z or whatever. It's these MMOs that are at the top are old. WoW is old. swtor is old. I mean, Final Fantasy's been revamped. And I guess they are kind of expensive to make. I mean, swtor doesn't have the money really to do what the other MMOs are doing, and that sucks because swtor's got potential. It's probably one of my, it's my favorite MMO. I won't turn it off, but it's a risk, because you don't know if you're going to get the player base and you're going to pull people in, and it can be profitable for years to come. I mean, WoW is a great example of that. WoW has been around. It isn't going anywhere. And, League is a great example. League is I mean, look at the profit they're making. They and I haven't played it, but I know that they're PvP mostly, right? So they really bring people in, and I do think that MMOs, open world MMOs, they can pull people in. They can keep a player base. They can keep a story going, and they can bring that game to new places. It just doesn't feel like they're putting stuff out there. The old ones keep it going. They bring new story in. I mean, I wish swtor would do bigger expansions, but WoW does big expansions. Final Fantasy does. swtor doesn't put enough into it to really bring so much more into the game. And it's a shame. It really is. And I know they don't have the people, but it's one of your bigger franchises. Like, you gotta find a budget for it, guys. Like, you just do. You've got a loyal player base. You've got a community manager that like interacts with the community. You've got tons of podcasts. Like, you've got great story. You've got people that love the story. Like, get people involved. Do more. Give us more. And be like these other MMOs and stick around for a while. It's scary sometimes with swtor, but I think you're right, Chill. You brought up the main thing that even in my own mind, like, our MMOs is just like Han said. we're still playing old games, you know, and but they're profitable. I mean, I was just telling my buddy how much money I spent in swtor's cartel market. So, yeah, you know, and that's Sarah back there making a guest appearance. But yeah, you know, it's you're right, and thank you so much, Chill, and let's get on to the next one. So my thoughts on the question, are MMOs dead? I don't think they're dead, but they're not what they used to be. And I do agree with all of you that the old games still have a good player base and will sink the money into it. And I think World of Warcraft is the prime example. I mean, let's face it, if you're like me and you've been playing the game since you were a kid, you're going to, and you're still playing and you love it, you're gonna throw money at the expansion. So it's true. You know, what you guys all said is true. It's got a dependable player base and we will stick around and it will make a profit. But I do think in the line of new MMOs, besides what Final Fantasy has done, what is there really out there? You know, I think Black Desert Online came out and we were all super excited about it and it just kind of flopped. And it's, what do you, you know, what do you think is out there? What do you see out there? What do you want? I mean, I still believe that Star Wars can make an MMO or make SWTOR better than it is. You know, and it's, I guess, excuse me, but like, I think they could do more. Star Wars can put in an MMO that could blow you right out of the water. It can blow any of these games out of the water because Star Wars has such a loyal player base. Lord of the Rings is another good example. Lord of the Rings MMO is a good game, but it can't match up to, say, World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy. And I know there was talk about making a new Lord of the Rings MMO, and I think Amazon was doing it. I don't know what happened with that. Game of Thrones is another good example. I feel like they're not dead, but I feel like they're not what they were. And I'll keep playing them because they're my favorite genre. But I see what a lot of people are saying, and it kind of sucks at times to believe that. I mean, I want an Old West MMO, and that's what I was hoping Red Dead Online was going to be, but it's not. So I do believe somebody can make an MMO that's going to be great and different from everything else, because we don't want Warcraft clones. Final Fantasy is not a Warcraft clone. And I think that's why it does so good, that in the fact that Final Fantasy is it's got followers, man. It's a franchise that's big, and they care about their player base. They interact. I think they really know how to put a game out. They revamped that game. They made it what it is. The animations are awesome. The crafting is top notch. The game is just fucking badass. It's a good game. And I feel like that's kind of where Warcraft is going with these changes coming in Dragonflight. And hopefully it brings things like crafting back. And SWTOR, you know, you need to focus on crafting. You need to focus on story and longer expansions and bring people in. You've got all the tools, you know. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. That's what I think. I don't think they're dead, but I don't think they're what they once were. And thank you all for replying. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It always helps. And I will hopefully see you next week with a new question.